Guys, Chauncey Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Taking you out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today though the big release today is Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I know there's a number of different retail exclusive ones for that one that came out today. Like Best Buy has a steelbook of that one. Target has one that I believe has like a gallery book. I don't know for sure if Walmart has an exclusive. Usually I think their exclusives are just like one that has no digital copy with that. Other than that though, there is one thing I'm definitely going to pick up today, so I think I'm going to be able to get it at Walmart, but it should be pretty much everywhere. Also, I want to let you guys know that this Friday I'm going to be putting up a parody video for the new Halloween film. It's also going to have like a review of the movie as well, but I really can't wait for you guys to see this parody. Like everyone, my whole family is in it and everything, so definitely check it out this Friday. It's probably going to go up like sometime in the early afternoon, but like even if you guys aren't interested though in their a review of the movie itself, the new film, definitely check it out just for the parody. Like I really can't wait to hear what you guys think of that one. Also though, at the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys, so stay tuned for those at the end of this video as well. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And like I said, the big thing that came out today was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and their edition here of the exclusive is $32.99. And like I mentioned, this one has a gallery book inside of here, a 40-page gallery book. So this is a pretty cool one here, like a bigger size one. The standard 4K here, I really like the standard 4K though, because it has a lenticular cover which changes out between them, with their masks on and off. I don't know, I think this is actually a really cool one. The standard one though is $30 for that one. The standard Blu-ray is $22.99. Also today, Whitney released today the Blu-ray of that one. That's $19.99. And then they have Reprisal. That one came out. The film was starring Bruce Willis. And then other than that though, they have a bunch of Halloween titles on sale, horror titles on sale, like really good price here for the 4K of Halloween. That one's only $13 for that one, so that's a really good price for 4K. And like they have other ones on sale like Happy Death Day for $10, Get Out for $10, some of the other ones here like Annabelle for $13. So that's really cool, all these ones on sale. But other than that though, I don't think there's really anything else in here. The one thing I was going to get was Unfriended, but the second film, and that should be over at Walmart. But I don't see, it doesn't look like they have that one here. But like I said, other than that though, don't see anything else in here really too different today though. Into Walmart we go. And like I said though, their exclusive thing for, Marvel titles usually ends up being, like I said, only has the DVD, no digital copy with it. That one's $24.99. Seems like the 4K is $29.99. And then there's a couple of things that came out in here today. This one here, I don't know what this one is. I'm going to have to look this up. This movie here called Warning Shot. But I had not heard anything about this. It looks like it's got like David Spade in this one. It looks kind of interesting though. Like I said, I don't know much about this. It's got Frank Whaley, who I've always been a fan of. He was in like Career Opportunities, and I always think of him too from Little Monsters, playing Boy in that movie. That one's $14.99 for that one. But the one that I was going to get though was Dark Web, which I saw this in theaters and really did like this one. And what's interesting too was when you saw this in theaters, it has all the endings on here, but it would play randomly, one of 3 different endings. So that was, I think it was 2 or 3. I don't know if they had 3 different ones, but I know there are 3 endings on this one. But that's a kind of a cool thing that they did with this movie. Also over here though, there are a couple other things that came out today here. This one here called He's Out There, which is like a horror film here. Another one, I'm gonna have to look this one up. This is $12.99 for that. And also Down a Dark Hall released today, which I actually like this one. It's one of those movies, like the more I thought about this film, I liked it a lot more after I thought about it. Kind of an interesting movie about these girls going to this private school, and there's only 6 girls in the whole school, and some really odd things were going on. They were kind of getting weird abilities and everything. Other than that though, they have Whitney here as well as the Harry and Meghan, A Royal Romance here, like the movie about their wedding and how they met and everything. Other than that though, that's all the main things in here today. there actually was some other things I noticed that came out today. The Big Lebowski came out today on 4K for the first time. That one's $17.96 for that one. Also over here, one of the other ones I didn't show was this one here, Buybust. That one came out today, and that one's $14.96. But though, other than that though, that seems to be all the stuff. I've been coming to a lot of Walmart so looking for those VHS cover ones, and I've had no luck finding those. I have not seen those. I've been to like maybe 3 or 4 different ones, but they're supposed to be those ones that have like VHS type slip covers on some of like the old releases of titles, but I've yet to see them in any locations. It seems like not all of them have gotten them yet, because like I've been to maybe like 5 or something different ones over the last week or two and not seen any of them anywhere though. And over here though, they're definitely not limited on Hocus Pocus on DVD. Look at how many copies of Hocus Pocus on DVD they have here. They do have the exclusive one here, the Blu-ray one that comes with the little the cat pin thing in here. So that's pretty cool. But man, they sure do have a lot of these DVDs here. But in there though, I ended up getting the Unfriended Dark Web, and I think I like this one better than the first movie, and I'm interested in seeing the other alternate endings. I don't know if they played all 3 of these options when they had it in theaters, but I know it was like totally random the one you would get, so it was kind of cool the way they did that. Other than that though, I did get the He's Out There one, which looks kind of like an interesting slasher one. Like I said, don't know much at all about this one though. If you've seen that one though, let me know what you thought of this one though. Into the Valley Thrift Store we go. It's been like a month and a half or so since I've been in here, so it's been a really long time. So hopefully they've changed out the movies and have a bunch of new stuff, but we shall see. I see a lot of people over here looking at the stuff, but yeah, there seems to be a bunch of stuff down on the bottom and everything. So yeah, I'll look through all this and see what they've gotten here today. Yeah, but like I said though, there's tons of stuff on the bottom, like this stuff like here, all here, and then all underneath it down here. But like I was saying, it's been like well over a month and a half or so since I've been in here. So look through here though and see what what's new and everything. It definitely is a lot of new stuff, but every so often I found some decent out-of-print stuff in here. You never really know, but I'll pull out anything that looks interesting that I come across. Yeah, I just like looked around there and looked, through everything, and it was like today, it was some of the most common stuff that I can say I've seen there in a long time. Because like in the past, I see some stuff that's like out of print or different, but today I went through everything, all this from the bottom, everything, but it was all like just super common stuff you see all the time. So nothing really special at all today though. And this past weekend I saw a couple different films. The first one I saw was the film Bad Times at the El Royale, and then it starred Jeff Bridges, Dakota Johnson, Chris Hemsworth is in the film, and it was an interesting movie. It's basically, it kind of had the vibe of like a Quentin Tarantino movie the way it was told, because it would tell like each like character's like side of the story, and then would kind of cut back and forth to different time frames and everything. But essentially though, it was a movie that was set in the 70s, and it was set in this motel where it was like on the border of California and Nevada. So they had like a line right down the middle of the motel, and they had all these kind of like weird rules, like on the Nevada side there was gambling, but then the California side was the only side that you could drink on. It had all this kind of stuff, but essentially though, it had all these different characters, and it was kind of showing all of the weird things that these people were involved in. And there was like all kind of odd stuff going on in the actual hotel, and like John Hamm's character was in the film, and he was like I guess he worked for like the FBI, and he was investigating something. Jeff Bridges' character, he was like looking for something. And then like Dakota Johnson's character, she had something. Like I said, everybody had like something they were all up to and everything. But it was like I said, it would kind of show each of the characters like the room that they were staying in, and then would kind of show their side of the story and what they were doing there. And then, like I said, it had a very similar kind of vibe to a Quentin Tarantino like Pulp Fiction, the way like the story was told. But I thought it was actually a pretty interesting movie. The other one I saw was the new Goosebumps film, Goosebumps 2. I think it was like Halloween Time. It was called something like that. And I felt like this newest one, it felt to me more like an episode of like the Goosebumps TV series than, the last movie. I thought the last movie, though, was a better film all around. But this one felt to me more like taking like an episode of Goosebumps and kind of putting it in theaters. It had that kind of vibe. Jack Black, though, it was really interesting, though, in the first couple of trailers when they were advertising the movie, they didn't show Jack Black at all. Like the very early ones. So I didn't even know he was actually in He does have like a part in this one. This is essentially though about these two kids who had like a junk removal business, and they ended up moving from this old abandoned mansion, which was R.L. Stein's character's old mansion. They end up finding this book, and of course Slappy the dummy, and they end up opening the book and accidentally bring Slappy back to life, and Slappy's end up causing all kind of mischief and everything. I thought it was actually fun though. Like I said, it wasn't as good as the last Goosebumps movie, but this one definitely did have like the old, you know, Goosebumps show kind of feel to it. If you guys saw either of those movies though, let me know what you guys thought of them, or let me know what movies you guys saw this past week, and if you guys got to see anything. Into Best Buy we go. And in here, the movies like last week when I was in here were over here. They moved them again. Now I gotta figure out where in the world they moved them in here. But they have a standee out here for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it looks like all of the you know, the Steelbooks are already gone here. Yeah, here's where they would have been, $34.99. I looked in the front as well. I didn't see any. But look, I have to figure out where they moved the movies. It was, like I said, just last week they were right here in this exact spot. So somewhere in here, I don't know if they put them behind this weird wall. No, that wall now just sort of is like nothing back there. So I've got no idea where they moved the movies. I think they put them like in the middle of the store over here now. Yeah, music and movies is now over here, but I'll have to see if they have it over here anywhere. The any of the Steelbooks. It's really, yeah. Here's where they put them, but I'm not seeing any of them over here either. No. It seems like those Steelbooks went really quick today, but one of the other things though that did come out was an exclusive thing to Best Buy is Ash vs. Evil Dead, the complete series here, and this one is $49.99 for this, and it includes a bobblehead, exclusive bobblehead. So that's actually pretty cool. This is the full complete series set like this though. This was out everywhere. I forgot to show it. Walmart had it as well, but for $49.99 you get the exclusive one with the Ash bobblehead. So that's actually pretty cool. But other than that though, like I said, yeah, I'm not seeing any of those Steelbooks. So it's weird how certain Steelbooks go really, really quick, and then some, you know, do not at all. I'm also going to be talking about, though, at the end of this video, Fraggle Rock, the complete series Blu-ray. But other than that, though, here today, I don't really see anything else in here too different today, though. So anyway though guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also, like I said, definitely be on the lookout for my Halloween parody, which is going to be going up on, you know, Friday, probably like sometime in the early afternoon. You know, I definitely can't wait to hear you guys think about that one. You know, when you guys see it too, definitely leave a comment in the video, and like I said, really can't wait to hear what you guys think of that one. Also, let me know what you guys think of the titles that I review and talk about at the end of this video, as well as what you guys picked up today on DVD or Blu-ray, if you guys picked up anything. Now stay tuned for the reviews. And the first one I got here from Shout Factory's Shout Select line is the brand new collector's edition here of City Slickers, which stars Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, Bruno Kirby, and Jack Palance. This is one of those movies, I've watched this movie so many times since I was a little kid. Always really, really love this movie. Really like the sequel to this one as well. This is basically, though, about, you know, Billy Crystal's character who's getting ready to turn 40 years old. He's kind of like, even in the sequel too, his character is always, anytime he's getting older, he's not really in the greatest mood about the whole thing. He's kind of like getting, like, kind of upset about getting older, and he just is not happy about it. And his character too, he doesn't really do too much in his life. He's always kind of going to work and kind of worried about work all the time and not really going out and doing too much. But his friends end up, you know, for his birthday, getting him a trip, and they're going to go along with him for 2 weeks. And it's a cattle driving trip, from moving cattle from one area to another out in the Old West. And it's like something like totally different for him. Never done anything like this. And it's pretty much about him going out there on this trip. And the head of the cattle drive is played by Jack Palance, and he's like, his character is amazing in this. I've always been a huge fan of him, and it's basically, though, about them kind of like going and learning the ropes about the whole thing, and like kind of the whole journey that they go through and everything. But it is absolutely a must-watch movie. It's one of those movies, if you guys have never seen this one, you guys definitely have got to watch this movie. Always loved Billy Crystal and Daniel Stern. This is just such a fun movie. I remember too, as a kid, I was like totally like sure, and I really, really kept thinking that the characters in here that say they were like the original creators of Ben and Jerry's ice cream, I remember as a kid like totally like thinking, yeah, that's definitely them. It's because of course this was before Billy Madison came out, because the same actor from Billy Madison was playing one of the Ben and Jerry characters in this. And I remember just being totally, you know, convinced that that was really him. But this is an absolute must-watch movie here. Has a brand new 4K scan transfer on this one. Looks really, really good. Definitely a great upgrade, and has on here archival featurettes on here, as well as a commentary track track on here with Ron Underwood, the director, and Billy Crystal and Daniel Stern. The next one here is from Shout Factory Scream Factory line. This is the brand new edition here, and really love the new artwork on this of Exorcist 2, The Heretic, and this is like the collector's edition as well of this film. And this is a really very, very trippy take on The Exorcist, because this was the sequel, and it was basically about, you know, Linda Blair's character years later after the events of the first movie, and she's like always having these terrible dreams, and like it's kind of been haunted by, because, you know, if you guys saw the first movie, her character was possessed, and then, you know, what ended up happening, but she ends up, you know, having these horrific dreams, and it's kind of about her having all sorts of problems in this and going through kind of like these scientific experiments when they're like trying to go into her mind and trying to figure out what it is she's seeing and stuff. Some of the kind of the visuals and stuff like this kind of carried over to the third movie, but it's kind of like them kind of trying to investigate, you know, what it is and like see if they can go into her mind and everything. It also is dealing with, too, the investigation of the priest that died in the first film. Like I said, it's very trippy with the visuals. You know, it's not by means anything like a perfect movie or anything like that, but it is a very, very cool, out there kind of movie and really different take on the whole thing. This has on here, though, 2 different cuts of the film. It has the 117-minute cut as well as the 102-minute versions of the film, and it has 2K scans, brand new 2K scans of both versions of the cut, so that's really cool. They remastered both editions of this. And it has on here a new commentary track on here with the director, brand new interview with Linda Blair on here, as well as theatrical trailers and still galleries. But a really, really great release, and like I said, a really cool movie if you guys have never seen the sequel to Exorcist. Now this is from Lionsgate from their Vestron video line, and this is one I was so excited. I just watched this one again last night. This is a really, really fun movie. They did a sequel to this, not a sequel, but another like a remake to this movie that no one ever talks about. It's kind of based on the same story called Trucks, but this was a movie here called Maximum Overdrive, which is a Stephen King, you know, story, and he actually directed this movie. This was the only movie that he's ever directed. I'd love to see him, though, do another movie where he directs it. But, you know, he actually has a little cameo in this as well. But I really like Stephen King as an actor as well. Like, he was so cool in Creepshow. But this is essentially, though, there's like a comet that, like, the Earth was going by, this kind of comet or something like that. And, it ends up making like technology go crazy. So like in the very beginning of this movie, you see like this soda machine like spitting out sodas and like killing this guy, and like these arcade video games start going crazy and like electrocuting, and like it's like all the kind of most insane things you can imagine with technology going crazy. But the main concept of this, though, is at a truck stop. You know, it's Emilio Estevez's character who works there. And then all the trucks start, you know, getting a life of their mind of their own and kind of coming alive and driving themselves. And there's these amazing sequences of like the trucks driving, and like I love how they did such a good job too hiding the people. And like I think they did a lot of it like remotely and everything, the way they filmed all of it. But it's like just amazing how these trucks are kind of going crazy, going on their own, and like, you know, running over people, and all the people end up pretty much trapped inside of the you know, the diner, and it's kind of them trying to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to figure out how they're going to outsmart these trucks and exactly what's happening. But it is an absolute must-watch movie. Yeardley Lee Smith, you know, who's the voice of Lisa Simpson, she acts in this movie. But I don't know, I really like this movie. I've liked this movie for years. It looks great on, you know, the Blu-ray transfer on here. It looks great. This has tons of features on here. Has a commentary track on here with the writer, commentary track on here with one of the actors and Blumhouse executive Ryan Turk is on here. Interviews on here with the producer. Has an interview with actress Laura Harrington. It has an interview too on here with Jon Stewart and Yeardley Smith, and they played the couple that was married in here. So that was pretty cool that they came on here to talk. Interview with the makeup artist, interview with Halton Graham, who plays the kid in this film, and Who Made Who, an interview with co-author of the AC/DC Maximum book, rock and roll book. As well as a feature out on here about restoring the Goblin, the car, the front of the car, the front of the big truck on here. But just an absolutely amazing movie. I also really like AC/DC's music in this. That Who Made You song. It's one of those songs that like gets stuck in your head like the whole movie. But it is a really great song. It also has on here behind the scenes footage as well. It's theatrical trailers, still gallery TV spots. But if you guys have never seen that movie, definitely check it out. I really like that one a lot. And I can't wait to hear what the next Vestron title that they announce will be. The next one here, we'll let you guys know this is available. This is Black Sails, the complete collection here. This has the Blu-rays as well as the digital copy. And this is basically This takes place before the Treasure Island series, and this is basically about this ship of these pirates, and it's all about kind of like the it kind of goes through, because it goes through all kind of different chapters. Each, you know, episode is a chapter, like a chapter of a book, and it kind of is all the certain kind of like conflicts that they go through. They're also like trying to keep their group together, and they're having like conflicts with other kind of pirates, and like it's also a very super intense show with like the attacks, and it's like really, really well shot, like the attacks on the ship and the pirates attacking other pirates and like ravaging things and everything. It is a really, really well made, you know, show budget-wise and everything. Just the way it's filmed and everything. Like I said, though, it has in here the complete series, so it has season 1 and 2, as well as 3 and 4, and it has on here, though, like I said, the digital copies of all of them as well, so that's really cool. It has a bunch of different features on here. It has over 2 hours of special features on this. But like I said, want to let you guys know that this one is available if you guys are fans of the show, and really cool to have it together here in one big set. And the next one's here from Lionsgate, and these are brand new releases to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the first Twilight film. These are brand new editions here, and the first one is on 4K, and then it's brand new editions here of all the sequels to the Twilight series, and they have really cool new slipcovers on these ones. They kind of have like the look to like a book kind of jacket, a little bit to them, got kind of that type of material and look to them, but really cool slips. And I'm going to go through too the features and everything on them. But the first film here, also they all include the extended cuts of the film. On the sequels, they're all on the Blu-ray, but the extended cut of the first film is only on digital, but it has the 4K edition of the film. And you know, it's basically, if you guys don't know the Twilight series, though, it's basically about Kristen Stewart's character who comes to this town, moves to this small town, and ends up, you know, meeting Robert Pattinson's character, who she comes to find out too is kind of like the loner of the school, and like people kind of look at him strange. He hangs around with these other kind of different people at the group, like at the school and everything, and they're like, oh, you don't want to mess around with him. She comes to find out though that he is a vampire, but then it becomes like this whole, and she starts sort of seeing him and kind of starts to like him, and like she finds out more and more about him. But it also deals with a whole big love triangle that goes throughout the films too, with her meeting Taylor Lautner's character, and she finds out that he is a werewolf, and you know, of course, vampires and werewolves hate each other, so they have all sorts of, like, you know, they really do not like each other, so they have all problems with each other. And there's also all kind of problems too with Kristen Stewart's character seeing Robert Pattinson's character, who's a vampire, and she's a human, and then the other vampires don't like that, and it's all goes through stuff with her not sure if she wants to become a vampire, and then not sure if she wants to be a Taylor Lautner's character, and you know, not sure how she feels about everything. So it's all go throughout the films, it goes through all that kind of stuff. Like I said, though, 4K wise, though, if you guys have 4K capacities, though, the big thing with 4K, I always say, is the HDR, which is the contrast levels and the brightness levels. Like, so the big thing I always notice the most is the picture is much, much brighter, and the contrast has much more darkness levels to everything, and just looks like it gives more of an atmosphere vibe to everything. That, at least to me, that's the big thing that I always notice. So if you guys have 4K capacity, would definitely recommend this as an upgrade for sure. And like I said, I really love the slips on all these ones. These have on here a bunch of features. It has like archival interviews with Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, interviews here from the red carpet from the premiere, on here a Twilight tour 10 years later on the 4K disc. So tons and tons of features on these ones, and I'll let you guys know some of the stuff on the sequels. On New Moon here, has 11 deleted scenes, over 30 minutes of extended scenes, interview on here, Fandemonium featurette, webcast. On Eclipse, there is on here a 6-part documentary with over 90 minutes of content, deleted extended scenes, commentary tracks on here with Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, photo galleries, music videos, so lots and lots of features on these ones. On Breaking Dawn Part 1, it has 90 minutes featurette, has on here music videos, director's commentary, and then on Breaking Dawn Part 2, there's a full-length documentary here, some featurettes, Twilight Saga at Comic-Con, commentary tracks, so tons and tons of features on here. Like I said, one of you guys know that these brand new editions here of all the Twilight films are available. This movie, too, I didn't know much about this one. Judy Greer directed this movie. It's from Lionsgate as well. It's called A Happening of Monumental Proportions. This has everybody in this movie. Common, Bradley Whitford, Rob Riggle, Keanu Reeves, Allison Janney, Jennifer Garner, and I love this movie. This is one of my favorite things I've watched in a while. This is a really, really funny movie. I really, really got into this movie. Definitely a must watch. And this is basically, though, about, it kind of one of those movies where it kind of connects to a whole lot of different characters together. And it's like, at this school, they ended up finding this gardener. The gardener and like the groundskeeper, he was found dead. And Allison Jennings' character and Rob Riggle, who are like I think they're supposed to be like the principal and vice principal, they don't know what to do, so they end up moving the body inside because kids are coming to school just as school's just starting back up. So then it's like they move the body inside, and throughout this movie they're having all sorts of problems with like people not taking the body away and hiding in the school break room. And it deals with Common's character, whose daughter goes to this school, and he's coming to Parents' Day. But then, like, he's having issues at work. At work, somebody broke the coffee maker, like cut the cord of the coffee maker. So there's all these kind of investigations about who did this, because Bradley Whitford's character comes in as the brand new boss of this company, and he's like trying to be like, you know, tough right when it starts with this thing. So it's like these kind of problems, and it's also, you know, Common's character was, you know, having an affair with Jennifer Garner's character, who he works with, and then Keanu Reeves' character is the husband. And he found out about this and wants to meet Common's character. And like I said, there's all sorts of problems in this movie, but it is such a fun movie. I absolutely love this. Keanu Reeves has this hilarious scene in this too. You know, it's absolutely, positively a must-watch. Judy Greer, you know, this is the first film that she's directed, did an amazing job on this. Always a huge fan of her. So, you know, she's on the new show recently, Kidding, which I really, really love. But she's in lots of stuff. She's in the new Halloween remake, or Halloween, you know, sequel. But definitely watch this. I really, really love this. The next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and it's a movie here called I Am Vengeance. This is about a special ops guy who finds out that his friends was killed, and also his friends' parents were killed as well, because they're trying to, like, he kind of comes to town and he finds out about what had happened. And it's essentially, though, about him trying to track down exactly who it was that killed his friends' parents, and he's kind of going through this whole thing, and it's kind of like, people are coming after him, and it's kind of him, you know, using his training and everything to try and take down the, you know, the guys that were involved in this. So it's like a super intense, you know, action film, and it's all kind of like, you know, as soon as he starts going into this, it becomes into one, you know, problem after another, and it's just like him finding out too exactly what his friend was involved in, for why this happened to his friend and his parents, and what they were trying to find and everything. But if you guys like, you know, super action type films, definitely would check this out. This has on here, though, deleted scenes as well as extended scenes on this one. Like I said, this movie here is called I Am Vengeance. And the next one here, and they also sent over, Lionsgate sent over some cool little promo items for this. They sent over like this syringe type pen that says Snake Out of Compton. They also sent over a rubber snake as well to promote the movie. And it's a movie here called Snake Out of Compton. This is a parody movie, which is kind of it's a parody of like Training Day and a lot of other kind of cop kind of like films sort of like that. And there's a couple other things that are kind of parodying as well, even a character that's like Steve Urkel in here. But it's basically, though, about this group of these friends who are all in this rap group, and they're kind of trying to, you know, get signed, and they're getting ready to go to this big event where they're hoping they're kind of going to get signed and everything. And their one friend, though, who's called like Furkel, he's a character, like a spoof of Steve Urkel. He really, like, they're kind of always giving him problems and like making fun of him and everything. And he in the beginning of this movie, though, you see the snake fall out of space, and he ends up you know, finding the snake, and you know, he's doing these weird type of experiments with this kind of like grow ray kind of thing that looks like it's sort of out of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And he kind of ends up, you know, shooting the snake, and the snake ends up, you know, growing and then escaping from the house, and it's kind of going around Compton killing people, and it's like growing bigger and bigger and bigger throughout this movie. So it's essentially, though, about this crazy killer snake, and it's like about all sorts of kind of problems, though, like the one kids end up getting arrested, and then like people are like, then like they end up in a situation where the snake is like, they're trapped with the snake, and it's like all kind of problems. There's some really crazy like attack scenes of this gigantic snake and everything. This is just a really, really fun parody movie here, and it has on here, though, a commentary track on here with the director on this one, as well as a trailer gallery. The next one here is from Lionsgate as well. This is a movie here called An Elephant's Journey. This stars Elizabeth Hurley, and this is essentially about this kid whose family, you know, his parents end up dying, and he goes to stay with his aunt, you know, in South Africa, played by Elizabeth Hurley. And when he goes out there, you know, he kind of lives, you know, he's like a kid who's never really been to an area like this, out into the middle of like, you know, with, you know, where they live and everything, because it's out kind of like out where there's like animals and everything. Like, he's never been to this type of an area. And it's essentially, though, about you know, he goes out there and he kind of starts to like the situation because he meets this elephant that he likes, but, you know, becomes sort of a friendship with. But he ends up finding himself lost from his aunt and his, you know, his uncle. And he ends up lost out there in the middle of the bush. And he doesn't know where he is. But of course, though, he ends up discovering, though, that there are these poachers out there. And they want this elephant. And it's kind of about him trying to figure out how he's going to foil and, like, you know, save this elephant and foil these, you know, bad poachers out there in the middle of Africa. And that's essentially what the movie's about. But it's just a really, really well-made film here. I always like, you know, a fan of Elizabeth Hurley, and it's kind of cuts back and forth to her character and her uncle, you know, his uncle, trying to figure out, you know, the boy's uncle, trying to figure out where this kid is and, like, to search for him and everything. This has on here, though, a commentary track on here. It has an interview with Elizabeth Hurley, interview with elephant expert on here, Dr. Richard Leakey, as well as a trailer gallery on this one. And the next one I got here from Sony. This is a really cool release here. This is Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock, the complete series here. It also includes the animated series as well on this. This is the 35th anniversary collector's edition, and a really, really cool edition of this. And I think the thing that I mentioned, though, is that the show was shot in standard definition. So the Blu-rays and stuff, they're not, you know, HD quality, because the episodes, they just don't even exist in that kind of quality. But they're still the best that they're ever going to look, you know, on them. So there's like no really compression or anything to the episodes. Like, they're the absolute best you're ever going to see them. This is a show, though. I watched the reruns of this as a kid, because this started a little bit before I was born. But I watched, like, the reruns of this one. Like, anything that had to do with Muppets, Muppet Babies, all that kind of stuff as a kid. I watched this all the time. This is essentially, though, all about the land of Fraggles and kind of like, like the adventures the Fraggles go on. And of course, you know, it's all puppets and everything. And then, like, also the kind of conflicts they go through. And every episode also opens with a live action segment, which I didn't even know in other countries they had different versions of those segments that they shot. And it has in here too a little sticker thing in here, and it has also a episode guide. So it has a full episode guide about, you know, what each of them are about. But I'll show you guys a look inside. And it's really cool, like, the design of this one. It has, like, pictures in here. It has, like, you know, and all the discs are in here like this. But it has, like, pictures and concept art and, like, behind-the-scenes photos and, like, you know, some stuff, too, like, with the puppets and everything. And, like, some, like, design work of, like, concept for, like, the look of the show and the look of, like, the land and everything where they live. But I don't know, this is just, like, a really, really cool release here. Really, really cool to have all of this together like this. And it has in here a bunch of different features in here. It has cast and crew interviews, you know, featurettes, promos, all kinds of different stuff in here. Like I said, it also includes the entire animated series as well on this one. But just really cool to have all these together on, you know, in one set like this. The next ones here are from Groucho's Ventures. It's a movie here called 14 Cameras. This is actually a sequel. I never saw the original film, but I don't feel like you need to have seen the first movie to get this. This is, though, about this guy, and, like, the guy does a really good job playing this really crazy guy kind of character. And he ends up, you know, puts up, like, these lists online about renting out this property he has in, I believe it's in Arizona, like a vacation home, and he has the house filled with all these cameras, and he's broadcasting all this stuff on the deep web, and it's like people are watching this family and people in the house. It goes through all these kind of people that he has in this house, but it's essentially, though, this guy is totally insane, and like I said, he does an amazing job playing totally insane, and like you see in the beginning that he's, like, killed people, and he's, like, nuts, absolutely nuts, and it's kind of like all the kind of stuff this family is put through, why people are watching and everything. But it's a really, really crazy movie here. And the next one here is from Groucho's Ventures as well. It's a movie here called The Barn. And this is basically, though, about in this small town, you know, years back they had, like a zombie outbreak, and, like, people kind of forgot about it, like, because zombies were kind of controlled, and they kind of found cures for some of them, but then some people weren't cured and kind of were locked away and everything. And in this small town, there's this barn, or, you know, something is, like, locked away in there, and it's like these brothers are kind of watching this place, and it's this girl who's doing who works for the newspaper. No, not the newspaper. She has, like, a news show. She's like a broadcaster, and she ends up, you know, trying to get into the past of this town and get into the past of this barn, because, like, this the one people at the barn were killed there, the brother's family, and it's kind of like some really weird things that happen there. So she's kind of going around there, bothering them, asking them questions and everything. But as soon as this happens, though, there starts to be more killings going around, because that's too wide. She's going around too, because there's been like killings in this town, and they don't exactly know who's involved and everything, and like it's kind of leading back to this house and this barn. But it's a really crazy movie, really pretty interesting too as well. The next ones here are from Mena Films, and these are really cool. These are the first time these are all, because one of them is a brand new movie, but the first time male violence was ever released on Blu-ray. Male Violence 2 came out years and years back on Blu-ray, I think like 2010, and then Male Violence 3. And the thing that's really cool about these releases is when you put them all together, it makes this image on here of the you know, the blanking on what the image is. I think it's supposed to be like a calf or something. I'm totally, I think it, no, I got oxen, but I'm totally blanking. But it's basically, though, these movies, Male Violence 2 is actually a prequel to the first film. And it's like, essentially, though, the story was about this kid who was kidnapped by this serial killer, and the serial killer raised him and forced him to kind of witness, you know, the kind of killings that he was doing and all the crazy things. In the Male Violence 1, which is technically the second movie that takes place after the events of the first one, because like I said, part 2 is actually a prequel. It deals with these people who rob this place and take these hostages, and they end up going and then staying in this abandoned house. And of course, though, the serial killer is there going after them. And then part 3 takes place after part one, which technically is part 2. Like I said, it's very hard to explain. But then it's about like the killer going around and killing all these people and these girls in this house and everything in this town. But these are really cool movies. The thing that I really love about them is they're real throwbacks to 80s. Like I don't know if the director did the music in all of them. I know he did it in the newest film, but it's really cool, like 80s synth. Like these really do feel like almost like lost 80s films. Even the third movie really had an old school 80s vibe to it. But essentially, though, it's all about this killer and then all the kind of stuff in the past that had happened. But these are really cool movies. They have tons of features on here. They have interviews on here. Brand new transfer on the first film looks really great. They have on here, though, making ofs on here, deleted scenes for part 2. Alexander Deliadro was the star of this the second film. That has on here for part 3. Has the thing I heard about composing the score, commentary tracks on here, looking back at the filming locations of the first movie. But really great releases. Also, they had a trailer on here for the director's film Brutal. I believe it was Brutal Massacre, and they hopefully he releases that soon on Blu-ray, because the trailer was in HD, and I really love that one. It's a really fun, like, parody kind of movie about making this movie. Great movie, though. The next one here is from Screen Media, called Don't Open Your Eyes, and this is basically, though, about this guy who is a home care like hospice nurse who goes to take care of this old woman who is not doing well. And, like, you know, when he gets there, too, he notices that there's something kind of off. Like, the daughter is kind of acting weird. And, like, as soon as she gets there, though, this old woman is, like, acting really peculiar and, like, really weird things. She's kind of asking for weird things done. And it deals all kind of with, like, these weird things dealing with the occult and, like, rituals and everything. And it's like, you know, something is going on here. And it's basically, though, about this guy trying to figure out what is happening here. Because she's, like, telling him to do all these obscure, odd things, and, like, you know, digging all kind. I don't want to ruin too much of what's happening, but it's essentially, though, something big is happening here, and it's like really peculiar. And like I said, all dealing with all kind of occult and ritualistic kind of things in this one, but actually pretty creepy one as well. And the next one here is from Mondo Macabro, and it's a movie here called Bloodlust. This is basically, though, a movie about this guy who since he was a kid, you know, he hasn't been able to hear or talk or anything because his father had, like, hit him so hard he ended up becoming deaf. And he's always in his house, and he has, like, this collection of dolls, and he's always, like, attacking and breaking the dolls, and he's, like, totally nuts. And he, like, starts, like, throughout this movie getting worse and worse and worse with, like, the things he's doing. And he starts going to, like, breaking into, like, the funeral homes and mortuaries and stuff, and, like, messing with the bodies, and he's doing all kind of crazy stuff, and, like, you know, with the blood and all kind of weird. This guy is, like, really peculiar, and it's like the stuff that he's doing. And it gets weirder and weirder and weirder as this movie goes on. This has on here, though, a brand new 2K transfer. Looks really, really, really good. Like, transfer is amazing on this one. Interviews on here with the assistant director, UK theatrical trailer. This has on here the German and audio version as well as the English audio version. So it has both versions on here to choose from. This is just a really, really crazy, crazy movie. And it just keeps getting, crazier and crazier as it goes on with what this guy is doing and, like, what's going on with him. The next one here is from Olive Film. This is the brand new signature release here of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is the original Body Snatchers film. I always really liked this movie. This is one of those movies I remember renting this one as a little kid. I liked all of them, though. I liked the one in the 70s with Donald Sutherland. I liked the one called Body Snatchers with like Meg Tilly in the 90s, I think, like the early 90s. I've liked all these movies. I think they're really, really a cool story. It's basically about this town where, like, these aliens have taken over and they're replacing people, by making copies of them. And there's amazing sequences, too, about how they're copying the people and then replacing them with the alien versions that look the same as the regular ones. And it's about a guy who kind of is discovering something is up and he's kind of trying to warn people and everything. This is absolute, if you guys have never seen this movie, a must-watch movie. This has on here, though, a brand new high-definition transfer on this one. Really, really good job cleaning this one up. Has commentary tracks on here with film historian, commentary track on here with Kevin McCarthy, who's the star of the film, as well as filmmaker Joe Dante. A bunch of different featurettes on here, archival interview from '85. Tons and tons of stuff on here. Really, really great release. I love this Olive signature line as well. It also has a booklet in here with some pictures from the film, like stills and all that kind of stuff in here as well. But like I said, one of you guys know this one is available from Olive Film's signature line. And the next one here is from Videonomicon. I believe that's how you say that. This is an anthology film here called 3 Dead Trick-or-Treaters. And the thing that's interesting about this is it's all done. There's not really any dialogue at all in this. It's all done like kind of with music and everything. And it's 3 different stories. And it's basically, though, about this guy who wanders into a graveyard and he sees like these 3 different masks on the, on the graves. And also tied to the graves are like these letters. And it's kind of like him reading through the letters, and it's kind of like tells how the people in the graves died. And it's 3 different stories. And like one of them was like these 2 people who went out and bought these Halloween masks and were going out to this kind of house in the middle of nowhere, and it's like some guy who's in a bathtub and they're doing some weird stuff to him. And it's like I said, it goes through all of the different stories, and kind of, show, from one grave to the other, telling you exactly how the people had died. It's actually pretty cool the way it was done, like I said, too, with pretty much no dialogue and pretty much just music and everything. Has on here, though, a bunch of different features on here. Has an interview on here with the director, commentary track on here with the director and the producer on here. Has radio interviews on here, deleted scenes, stills gallery, and a theatrical trailer on this one. And the last one here is from a company called I'm not sure. I think it's Two Roads Pictures. It's a movie called No Postage Necessary. This is basically, though, about this guy who was like a hacker who ended up going to prison for a couple years because of this, and he ended up getting out of prison. And when he gets out, though, he has, like, has to see his probation officers, and he has to kind of stay off of the internet and can't do anything. But, of course, though, he starts, he finds ways to still do this. And he also is going around, dressing as a mail carrier, stealing mail, trying to hopefully find money and stuff inside of it. But one day he ends up finding this letter that this woman wrote to her husband who was away at the war, it's kind of like the husband had died, but she like wrote this letter. But it's kind of about him like wanting to meet this woman, and he's kind of like following her, tracking her down, and then he finds a way to eventually meet her. And it's kind of like sort of like his life is kind of starting to change because of this woman. He kind of wants to become a better person and everything, but he's also dealing with a problem too because somebody had hacked something nearby, and it's kind of pointing to him. And of course, he didn't do this, but they're looking at him because of his past, so he's dealing with that whole situation as well. But this is a really, really well-made film here. Anyway, though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.